My name's Brittany,
What's up, y'all? My name's Dusty.
and welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
We actually tried to do this like last year, and we just totally chickened out, I think. We wanted the first video to be like introducing ourselves and like who we are, what we do, where we live. What'd you say?
I said, and a welcome.
Yeah, and like a welcome to whatever this may be and look like. We have no idea.
I think it'll be cool for our hopeful one day future kids and family to be able to see what our personalities were like too when they watch things.
And it's actually funny that you say that because like neither of us have any like home videos from when we were a kid. So
I did,
like,
but R.I.P. to Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah, yeah, Dusty did. So I don't know. Yeah, it'll be cool. So my name's Brittany again. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Specifically, a place called the West Bank of New Orleans. Yeah.
Your mom's gonna love that.
Yeah, Mom, if you ever watch this, reppin'.
That was for you, Miss Tammy.
Dude, she better watch this. I'll be pissed.
Yeah.
If my mom is the only person who watches this.
That's a win.
Right. Yeah, and I have an older brother and a younger brother.
I am originally from Houston, Texas. Houston's really big and it feels kind of vague saying Houston, but I'm from the southern portion. I have an older sister, born and raised in Houston, and yeah.
So we own a photography and videography company called Harvest Palms that we actually just realized.
We just hit our 1 year mark.
Yeah,
in
we just
November.
had our 1 year birthday in November.
Yeah, we didn't even celebrate it.
We didn't. We didn't even notice.
We'll have to celebrate it. And then outside of Harvest Palms, I was a firefighter paramedic. Now I'm currently just a paramedic, and I'm working on trying to get into nursing school.
And I am currently in grad school at Grand Canyon University, so it's all online. I've actually never been to the campus, not even once. Couldn't even tell you what it looked like. I start my clinicals legitimately, like 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now I start my clinicals for grad school. Oh, I'm in grad school for clinical mental health counseling. So yeah, I'm studying to be a counselor, which I really love and I feel really excited about. I feel really nervous about it, but also I feel really excited. So yeah, that's what we do.
Well, let's tell how we met and that journey.
I know, because I feel like we've said a lot of things that are like, we lived here and did this, and that probably is like
might be confusing.
What the fuck? Yeah. I went to LSU.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, for college, and graduated in 2018. And right after I graduated, I moved to Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, for a job. And yeah, I lived there for 3 years. I don't remember. 2.5 years.
3 years.
Yep. So anyway, so I was living in Utah at the time, and we took a trip to Mexico for my job. And we're in Mexico. There are a bunch of people from like all over
the U.S.
Yeah, who are also in Mexico, who like work at the same place as me. So yeah, we're in Mexico. There's a ton of people from everywhere. I am late to this meeting where a speaker is speaking, but I'm late because I'm like on the street with one of my friends getting ice cream, and we're like, oh my god, we need to hurry up, like there are gonna be no seats in the meeting, like it's gonna be super awkward, we're gonna walk in, everyone's gonna be like, they're late anyway. So we walk in, and immediately when I open the door, we're like scanning for like where can we sit, and there are like the only empty seats in the whole place are like 2 seats in the middle of like a bunch of people, so we would have had to like walk over them, and that would have been like really awkward.
Yeah, that would have been really awkward.
Or there were like 3 seats right next to Dusty. So I see the seats, and then I see Dusty, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, I was just like, I have not seen him. So this is like 2 days,
it's 2 days
into the trip. Yeah. And I'm like, who is that? I know there are a lot of people here, but like, I would have remembered if I would have seen him. He has not been here. He just got here for sure. And my friend's like, let's go sit back there, because that made the most logical sense. And I was like, shit, no. I was like, I am not going to sit next to him. He is too beautiful, and I feel so awkward, and no way, I'm not sitting next to him. So we crawled over a bunch of people to sit in the middle of the room, because I was like, absolutely no way, I'm not sitting by him. I like turn into the most awkward person ever when I think someone is attractive, or like I think that I might like them. That sounds so extreme because I only just saw you. I'm like, think that I might like them. But like, yeah, I saw him and everything stopped, like one of those moments that like, that just sounds so cheesy and corny, I know, but it did.
Love at first sight.
So yeah, so I see him and I'm like, absolutely no way. So then we sit down, whatever. At the very end of the meeting, the person who's speaking basically like calls Dusty out and is like, say hey to everyone, Dusty. And I'm like, oh my god, everyone's looking at him, like I'm not looking back there. So after he says his name,
I forgot that he did that. That's hilarious. Yeah.
After that he says his name, I'm like, I'm about to find this man on social media. Like, I need to do some serious stalking because everything that is happening inside of me is terrifying. And he was nowhere to be found. So I'm like, see, like, I don't know. I was just like, this is so weird. He was literally on nothing, not even Facebook. Who doesn't have Facebook?
No Facebook at the time. I didn't have anything.
So I was just like, wow, that really sucks. Can't even like get the tea. So yeah, anyway, we leave the meeting. Everyone's like going.
Let me catch up to
wait.
my perspective.
Okay, before that, everyone's like talking to Dusty. Everyone goes up and talks to Dusty. Which
it's gonna make a lot more sense. It makes it seem like I was like some superstar, but when I tell my side of the story, it's gonna make a lot more sense because I had a lot of friends in the room already that I came down from where I was living to surprise.
Yeah.
So I wasn't some like some superstar, in the room.
Well, everyone's going out to him because he was moving to Bali, Indonesia, and the person who's speaking like said that, so everyone like wanted to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, beeline for the door. I was like, I'm not talking to him. Like, I'm running away from this man. I had actually just gone through a breakup like a few months before the trip.
Yeah.
So I was in like I'm not dating for like 10 years type of thing.
Ever.
Like, I was just like heartbroken and had my own plan for my life. And I was like, I'm not dating anyone for a long time. Like, I don't want to be seen with like, I was just like, no, how you do after you break up. But then obviously life had other plans and it didn't go my way. Thank God.
Thank God.
So yeah, I leave. And now you tell your story of that.
So, rewind. I am living in Houston. I decide to move to San Diego, California at the beginning of 2019.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is March 2019.
March 2019. So, January 2019, literally like January 1, I decided to move to San Diego because I'm gonna join this work and move to Indonesia, Bali, Indonesia. And the people that I was gonna be moving with lived in San Diego, so it was just easier. So I moved out there. I hear that all my friends, I'm living out there and just loving California, having a blast. And I know that a lot of my really good friends from Texas are gonna be on this trip, this work trip in Mexico. I go down there. I sneak into the back of the room. He's talking, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like 3 or 4 rows behind everybody. I'm sitting by myself, whatever. And the door opens when he's in this guy's talking, and the door opens. So I look over to the left, and someone walked in. I don't think you walked in first. I think someone walked in. So I just like kind of glanced, and then Brittany walked in right behind, and I was like, oh my goodness, who is that woman? I was like, she's gorgeous. Like, okay. And then I start kind of backpedaling in my head, and I'm like, okay, there's no way somebody like her is not married, is not engaged. So I'm like, this is all in a matter of like 7 to 10 seconds. As she's walking from the door to the seat, I'm like, let me see if she's got a ring on her finger.
As I'm avoiding you.
I hate saying this, but I'm like, let me see if she has a ring on her finger. And I'm like, oh man, she does not have a ring on her finger. I'm like, she definitely has a boyfriend. There's no way that she doesn't.
Well, my friend that I walked in with was a guy, so then you thought.
No. You walked in with someone else. You sat next to the guy who I thought, yeah. So I'm like, she definitely has a boyfriend. I'm like, there's no way in hell that this woman does not have a boyfriend. So, and then I'm like, it doesn't even matter. I'm getting ready to move to Indonesia. I can't entertain this. I'm just gonna like, just for her sake, my sake, I don't want to start anything, do anything that's gonna make it seem, I was getting ready to move in like 3 or 4 months. So I'm like, I'm just gonna not. Well, then so I have the open seats next to me, and I'm like, maybe they're gonna come sit over here. And then she crawls over this group of people to sit literally in the middle. I mean, there's like 7 people on each side. And she crawls over this group of people to sit in the middle. And I'm like, oh, duh, that's her boyfriend that she's sitting by. So I'm like, that is stupid. Like, Dusty, you're a weirdo. And you just thought this guy's girlfriend was absolutely stunning the moment she walked in. And now you're the weirdo in the back. And so no. So then afterwards, the guy is like, hey, this guy's moving to Indonesia, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people are talking to me. I'm saying hi to a bunch of my friends that didn't know I was coming. I was surprising them. And I'm still thinking, like, this girl, where is she? And I actually saw her, like, make a beeline for the door. And I'm like, I just got to let it go. I got to let it go. I'm saying hi to everybody. We're getting ready to get on buses. And then you can pick up from there.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like.
I love retelling this story. It is so.
Do you really?
It's hilarious to me, actually.
So yeah, we are leaving to get on buses, and like I said, there's so many people. So like they're like, obviously it's just one bus. So I'm like not thinking at all that we would like be on the same bus, because I'm like, he'll be on like some other bus again. There's so many people, and we end up on the same bus.
Literally the same bus. And we're sitting like seats away from each other.
Oh no, not the first time. Remember?
Oh, the first time you ran to the back.
Yeah, we get there,
right.
and I see Dusty in the front of the bus, and I was supposed to sit at the front of the bus.
That's right.
And I was like, made up some excuse that I had to sit in the back. I was like, someone's sick. Someone's sick. I have to sit with them because I like refuse to sit by Dusty. Like when I tell you, like I was like, I don't know what's happening. I've never felt like this before. Like I was just so not one of those like the like starstruck like oh my god,
love
you know,
at first
like
sight,
I thought that all of that was like, I don't know, I didn't doubt that it happened to some people, but like I definitely doubted that it would ever happen to me.
Right.
I'm just like so overthinker, so like
it's hilarious.
Yeah, and so like every time, you know, people would be like, you know, when you know, and I'll be like, yeah, right. I'm like, you don't know what it's like to be me.
Right.
Like when I know, I think about it a billion times and make up a million reasons why I would never, you know, like I just was like I'm just so like that, unfortunately, sometimes. But it was like one of those moments where I was like, oh my god, like this is something. Anyway, and like I said, just gone through a breakup, so I was like, absolutely not. So I'm like avoiding him hardcore. Anyway, we get off the bus. I'm still avoiding him all day, talking to everyone else, but I'm like avoiding him. And then I'm like walking back till I get back on the bus, and I'm like just having this moment, and I'm like, Brittany, why are you doing this? Like, why are you being so weird? Like, stop being weird. And like I said, like I'm always like, if I think someone is attractive, like I like them, like at first, like I'm so awkward. Yeah. So like I was like, Brittany, like stop being weird. How would you treat him and act towards him if you did not find him attractive? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I would just be like myself and like be friendly and like start conversation and like make friends. Like I would just like be normal. Right. So I'm like deep breathing and I'm like, okay, be normal, be yourself. So we're walking back and he's like talking to someone and I'm like, I think I interrupted.
No, I was walking past you. I was going to get something from like a little food stand or something like that. And this is my favorite part because if you know Brittany and when you get to know Brittany, this is the opposite of her, but it was so funny because I'm walking past her and all I hear is, hey! And I'm like, who is that?
Don't be weird. Hey!
Hey! And I look over and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, oh my God. Because the whole day, like, we get on the bus, I see her get on the bus, and I'm kind of having the same internal battle of, like, I don't know what's going on right now, but this woman is, like, there's something about her eyes, there's something about her hair, there's something about the way she smiles, her laugh. I was just like, I don't know what's going on.
My hair, I'm done.
I'm serious, just all of it. Like, I was just overwhelmed, you know?
It was probably, like, so frizzy and just, it was very, I feel like I remember it being, like, hella humid.
Yeah, it was super hot. I mean, it was, like, early March in Mexico.
I was definitely looking poofy. Anyway.
But anyway, so I'm having the same internal battle. I'm like, dude, just leave it alone. She has a boyfriend. Like, you gotta stop. Like, you're moving out of the country. Like, it's not gonna work. It's never gonna be anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then I walk past her and she's like, hey. And I turn over and I'm like, oh my God, it's her. I'm like, what do I do? So I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? You know, and we just sat there and talked for like probably 15 minutes.
Not
maybe.
Even.
Yeah, maybe shorter.
It was like really quick, like very surface level conversation.
And she did the whole, I heard you're moving to Indonesia. Blah, 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 blah.
That was definitely my way in.
Yeah. And so we just started talking, and from that moment I was like, wow, this is I didn't even know what it was, but this is it, you know?
Yeah. So then we're like leaving the trip soon, and we both were like pretty like...
I knew on the trip, it was the second day that I had been there. I stayed the night, and the second day I woke up, Brittany and I we had got a few opportunities to talk throughout the day, and just like very, normal conversation, anything super crazy.
Yeah. No.
And
I think at one point maybe we like talked about our families.
Yeah, and like where we come from and just stuff like that.
And
from me being from Houston, her being from New Orleans, it's not super far off.
And we realized that like so much of our upbringing and like our families was like so similar,
very,
which at
very,
the time,
like, weirdly similar.
Yeah, like the people we were friends with, like we didn't really share that in common with really anyone. So like it felt like super crazy to like be talking about things and being like, oh my gosh, my family, just the same kind of stuff. And again, like we didn't really share that with anyone, but like share that like commonality. So it was just like really cool.
But after the second day, we're talking, and that evening I'm like, I'm gonna marry her. Like, this is gonna be the woman that I spend the rest of my life with. I know it. Like, I had never known it before. I had just known, it was just something about her that we just connected, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is my soulmate,
And I knew too, which is just like so funny because I'll speak for myself. I just was not that person. Like I said, I was like super overthinker, like had been in relationships for like years and still was like, like I don't know, I was just, anyone who knows me, they know, like I was just super like scared of marriage and like scared of that like forever commitment, and like, I was just terrified of that. So I overthought everything and was just like, I'll never know. I'll probably be that person on my wedding day being like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, am I supposed to do this?
Oh my God. Anyway.
So, anyways, the trip is ending. We exchange contact.
Well, we have to say the part where like we both at like, so we didn't know this obviously at the time. I think we told each other maybe once we were like almost married, or even after we were married, I think, that we had like shared... We like thought to share the moment we knew.
We had gotten engaged and we shared it,
And we like, it was the same time. Like he was like, it was during when this was happening, and I was like, oh my God, for me it was at the same time. We were like separate.
Yeah, we weren't together, but
like we had the same like
kind of just moment of like epiphany moment of like,
oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, we leave the trip. We're in contact, but it's like very like
I'm getting ready to move, and
right,
I'm trying to be like honest with her, and like I'm not trying to like lead her on, but I'm having all these feelings, and so I'm like, look, like I'm moving out of the country. It's
it's complicated.
It's super complicated, So anyways, we just keep talking, building friendship, building relationship, and I mean, I was hooked. Like I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
So then after we like have built friendship for a while, we like decide like, okay, like, I think we both knew it was worth it. Like I don't think that we ever had a second thought of like, is it worth long distance? Is it worth? Which again, like I was so not that person. Like
like I
didn't want to do a long distance. I was like, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, I think that like you can do it when it's your person. I think anyone can do it, of course, but
yeah, it just takes work. It takes
yeah,
a lot of.
To me, it feels worth it when it's your person. But outside of that, I'm like, oh my god, it's so hard. But anyway, so we decide like, okay.
Even though I'm moving, like let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So we start dating. Yeah. Dusty moves literally like a month after we start dating.
I think we'd been dating for like almost exactly a month, and then I moved to Indonesia for work. And
we did long distance.
Yeah, so I'm living in Indonesia. And Indonesia from Utah is like...
It was the opposite.
Almost exactly 12 hours difference. Like, it's like 9.5, 10 hours, I think, maybe. Yeah. So I would be getting up, going to... I was learning the language when I lived there. I'd be getting up, going to language school, and she'd just be getting ready to go to bed. So I'd get up early enough, and we'd talk for 2 hours, an hour. And then I'd go to school, and I'd do my whole day and do my whole routine, whatever, and then... right before I go to bed, she would be waking up, and we would talk, and, you know, we'd try to set up, like, little dates, and just, I mean, we would just talk. We'd talk about anything. We'd talk about everything, which, in a lot of ways, I think it was really hard, but it was really good, because it forced us to, like...
We just talked.
Yeah, we just learned so much about each other so quickly.
Like, our entire relationship was long distance, so we just talked. Take two. Because something, technical difficulties.
Yeah, literally happened. We lost, like, the last chunk of the footage of our story, so...
It just disappeared.
It was gone. But,
so love that for us. Now
so, anyways, we're talking about us dating long distance, and now we are... Where was I?
You were saying... Well, we were both saying how we just, like, talked all the time.
Yeah,
so,
talked all the time.
Talked all the time.
Came home to America.
Nope. You missed. You went and got a ring.
Right. So we talked all the time. I decided, you know what? I'm going to propose. I'm going to do it. And I flew to Australia and got the ring, and then decided to come home and propose without Brittany knowing. So I flew home the beginning of October, and I proposed October 5th in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Brittany had no idea. She was super surprised.
Which actually, a funny part of the story that we actually didn't even say yesterday.
I forgot about this. Yeah.
So this is good that we had to redo it anyway. But so the night before Dusty was proposing, my mom like comes into my room.
Totally unknown to me. She didn't talk to me. Didn't have a conversation with me. Just did this on her own.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, like. I think it's a really good idea that you guys are waiting until next year for all of this. And I was like, wait, what? Because, like, we hadn't, like, talked about, like, specifically when we would get engaged. But, I mean, we were definitely we had to.
It was more serious. The conversation about engagement was more serious.
Because he was in Indonesia, I was in Utah. Like, what are we doing?
Her job was ending the next year. So we just had a lot of moving parts that we were trying to, like, figure out. Yeah.
And, so I was just like, wait, what? And I was pissed. Yeah. Like, literally pissed. So I'm like, what? I think I was like... You
called me.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what, Dusty? Like, you know, like, if you're, like, waiting for whenever, like, that's fine. But stop talking about it to me.
No.
No, and then at the end, I said... I was like, if you're waiting, like, you know, like, whatever, like, my mom just told me this, like, well, first I started off being like, what?
What is going on, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was like, if you're waiting, like, let's stop talking about it. Like, we need to stop talking about it. Like, I can't do this. Like, I can't keep talking about it as if it's gonna happen, and you don't know what you're doing, basically. I didn't say that exactly, but, like, that's basically what I was saying. Like, if you don't have your shit together, and you don't know what's going on, like, don't talk to me like you do.
Dude, and so she calls me.
And then after that.
Oh, yeah.
I cut off all of my fingernails, like,
literally
really
went
short,
and took a bath, cut all of her fingernails off.
Like, small. Like,
we're like
even
12
shorter
hours.
than normal.
We're like 12 hours away from engagement.
Yeah.
And she goes into a spiral. But what actually happened was I'm sitting in the hotel room in New Orleans. Brittany has no clue. She thinks I'm in Texas. She knows I'm in America at this point, but thinks I'm in Texas with my family. Mm-hmm. And she calls me and she's like pissed. I'm like, what is going on? You know? And so I'm trying to play it cool, like, you know, I'm not telling her I'm in New Orleans, trying to play it cool. And you're like, essentially you're like, if you're not gonna propose, we can't do this.
That
like
is not,
we're not gonna be in a relationship.
You always take
I'm
I
telling
can't
you.
do this as like not dating. I would have never said that. I didn't even think that.
Maybe not, but anyways,
it was like I can't do this, as in like we can't. Like,
we need to stop talking about it.
engagement
right.
and all the things.
It felt like she was like, if you don't propose, we're breaking up, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, what? And I literally told her word for word, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but that's it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I gotta go. Bye. And
well,
I'm
I was just like, he just apologized that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like there was no conversation. Like
I didn't know what to say. I was like literally 5 minutes away from her down the road.
So I was like,
I couldn't be like, well, if you would just be patient and wait till tomorrow, you'll have a ring on your finger, you know.
So then the next day he proposes.
Yep, I proposed.
Super beautiful, super emotional. I was so emotional. So then we get engaged and we move back to Utah, and we live in Utah together for a while. For the first time ever, we lived in the same
city,
same state.
Yep.
Yeah, we were back in the same time zone.
Learning how to date, learning how to like.
Yeah, in person.
Just live life in person, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was like really fun. We got married in June after all the postponing.
Postponed 4 times.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah, I cried a lot.
Yep.
And then the next month we moved back to Louisiana.
Yeah.
We lived in Baton Rouge for about like 6 or 7 months, and we moved to New Orleans, where I'm from, to be closer to family. We ended up buying a house.
Yeah. What a process.
Yeah, that we love. We actually still have our house,
yeah.
But we have renters in it, and they are amazing dream renters.
Yeah.
And yeah, then we were like, you know what? We really wanted to like either do like van living or RV living or something like that. We decided on RV living. Just thought that'd be a better fit for us, and we bought an RV and we renovated the whole thing. And then we basically took the summer to like travel around Florida to see where in Florida we wanted to live. And we decided on Destin, which was like, we did not expect that.
You know, we were making these videos for you guys, for us, for, you know, family and friends and stuff. And we want to know what you guys want to see in our videos. So like and subscribe and comment. You know, let us know.
On Instagram. Tell us what you want to see.
But now we'll give you guys a little tour of Sunny.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Are we going to take them to the beach?
Yeah.